Yes, Daniel Dubois is more dangerous than he was. Yes, he's probably the most dangerous puncher in the heavyweight division. I went into camp with him recently up on the farm, and I was very impressed with him when I sat down. He's more open than I've ever known him before.
You know, he's got heavy hands, Dubois, and he'll go for it, and I think he'll always be dangerous while he's there. I just wonder if Usyk will be slightly too clever still. I don't know. Look, the gap has definitely closed. Usyk is getting older, Dubois is getting better,
and it's a big chance for Daniel to, make his mark in the world of boxing, and certainly in British sport, by being the first Brit to ever hold the 4 belts.
Boxing pros have just broken down how dangerous Daniel Dubois would look in his rematch against Oleksandr Uysk. However, Daniel Dubois said he does not see any signs that Usyk is slowing down. He believes he is going to beat the best fighter in the world on the night of the fight. Dubois said that is all he needs to focus on and all he needs to worry about. He added that he is ready to make history.
Beating the best Usyk, or do you think there are signs that he's creaking at all?
No, I believe I'm going to beat the best Usyk there is on the night, and that's all I got to do. That's all I got to worry about, and creating history.
Daniel further said that he is completely focused on his journey and building his legacy in the sport. He has worked very hard to reach this point and refuses to be stopped now. He believes he is right at the door of success and is ready to break through it with full force.
Yeah, I'm just tunnel vision on my journey, making my legacy, leaving my mark on this sport, and worked really hard to get there. I'm not going to be denied now. I'm at the door, and I'm just going to kick it in.
Yeah. Moreover, Daniel Dubois has trained with full focus and intensity ahead of his rematch with Oleksandr Uysk. He has worked on his power, speed, and stamina, making sure every session brings him closer to peak form. Driven by his goal to make history, Dubois has stayed committed and disciplined. He knows this is his chance to prove himself and is prepared to give everything in the ring. However, Mark Tibbs expressed strong confidence in Daniel Dubois ahead of his rematch with Oleksandr Uysk, saying Dubois has improved mentally in his recent fights and now looks more focused and determined. He believes the body shot that ended their first fight was a fair one and stands by Dubois' performance. Tibbs added that he fully backs Dubois to win the rematch and is even putting his money on him, showing his belief that Daniel has what it takes to come out victorious.
Fantastic fight for Daniel. I think Daniel's come on mentally his last few fights, and I really make him a favourite. I really believe that was a kosher body shot in his first fight with Usyk, and I believe I really am backing. I'm putting my money on Daniel Dubois to win in that fight. Yeah.
Robert Garcia said the timing of the rematch between Daniel Dubois and Oleksandr Uysk is perfect, with both fighters at their peak. He called Usyk the best pound-for-pound boxer, but believes Dubois is in great form and ready for the challenge. Garcia noted the controversy over the body shot in their first fight and said opinions still differ on it. He expects Dubois to use his size and strength to pressure Usyk, who despite his speed and skill has shown signs of struggling under pressure and body attacks.
I think it's a perfect timing. They're both on top, on top with great wins. Usyk obviously pound for pound the best fighter in the world. I think it's a great challenge. The first one was a little controversial. There was a little bit of controversy with the body shot and stuff like that we all disputed, and everybody has a different opinion. I think it's going to be a very competitive fight. I think Dubois is in a great moment right now. I think Dubois is a big guy. He's going to go out there and put pressure and try to dominate with his physical strength, and Usyk, obviously great boxer, great counter puncher, very great speed and technique, but he does get affected when we see pressure on him, when we see body shots on him. So I think Dubois is going to put on a great fight.
Moreover, Gareth A. Davies said Daniel Dubois is more dangerous than before and likely the hardest puncher in the heavyweight division. After training with him recently, Davies was impressed by Dubois' openness and happiness, which makes him even more dangerous. He noted that Uysk turned 38 in January, and despite dominating and stopping Dubois in their first fight, including a controversial body shot in the 5th round. Many factors suggest Dubois will be a serious threat in the rematch.
Yes, Daniel Dubois is more dangerous than he was. Yes, he's probably the most dangerous puncher in the heavyweight division. I went into camp with him recently up on the farm, and I was very impressed with him when I sat down. He's more open than I've ever known him before. Happier, a very happy fighter, and if he's happy, he's dangerous. I think Usyk, as you say, was 31 in January. 38 in January. 38. He'd be happy to be 31. 38 in January. So you ride all the factors at the moment, disregarding what happened in the first fight, that Usyk dominated on points, obviously, and stopped Daniel, I think it was in the 9th, wasn't it? Yeah. Having been felled by what I consider to be a borderline low blow as well.
Davies further said there are many signs that Daniel Dubois will be dangerous early in the fight and will go all out from the start. He was impressed by Dubois' maturity and praised trainer Don Charles for his positive influence. Davies highlighted Dubois' strong promotion work and performance against Anthony Joshua last September as evidence of his growth. He believes Dubois will be a threat for at least the first 5 rounds and warned that if Usyk shows any signs of aging, he could be hurt or even dropped early. While Dubois winning on points is unlikely, Davies said anything can happen since Usyk is known for never giving up.
There are many factors which would indicate that Dubois will be dangerous early in this fight. He will go for it, there's no doubt about it. As I say, I was very impressed being around him. Don Charles is great for him. There's a maturity about Daniel Dubois we've not seen before. He carried the promotion brilliantly against Anthony Joshua last September and delivered on the night in droves. I think he's dangerous early in this fight. He's dangerous for 5 rounds again. If Usyk ages overnight, he could get beaten up in the fight. You can't rule anything out in this fight. He could drop Usyk early, but Usyk refuses to give up and Dubois wins on points. You don't know what's going to happen.
Davies lastly said that he still believes Usyk will win the fight if he performs at the high level of skill, form, and ring control he has shown throughout his career. He noted that Usyk remains undefeated as both a cruiserweight and heavyweight and ranks among the top pound-for-pound fighters of all time in the heavyweight division. Davies praised Usyk's impressive achievements, including winning Olympic gold, but reiterated that Dubois will be dangerous for at least the first 5 rounds.
While winning on points, but I think Usyk still wins this if he's on the kind of form and the kind of skill level and ring generalship that he's shown so far in his career. Obviously undefeated as a cruiserweight, undefeated as a heavyweight, top 10 pound for pound pantheon in my view in the heavyweight division of all time. I think he's produced incredible results since winning Olympic gold as well. But I think Dubois will be dangerous for 5 rounds. That's my reading of it.
Frank Warren said this fight is historic because it is the first time all 4 belts will be contested in the UK. He believes it is a huge opportunity for Daniel Dubois to make his mark in boxing and become the first British fighter to hold all 4 belts. Warren called it a magnificent achievement for Dubois and British boxing as a whole.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's a great fight. I know I keep repeating myself, but it's historical. First time ever the 4 belts have been contested for in the UK, and it's a big chance for Daniel to, make his mark in the world of boxing, and certainly in British sport by being the first Brit to ever hold the 4 belts. So it'd be a magnificent achievement for him and for British boxing.
Warren also shared that Dubois' training camp is going very well and everything is going according to plan. He mentioned that Don Charles is confident and that Dubois is on point with his preparation. Warren added that he is hearing positive news from Usyk's camp as well, saying both fighters are professionals and will be well prepared for what they know is the biggest fight of their careers.
He's doing extremely well. Don told me that he's really, everything is going to plan, touch wood. So that's all at the moment is it's just been everything's online and on and on point. So I'm just keeping my fingers crossed that continues that way. But I'm also hearing from Usyk's camp that they're doing well as well. I mean he's a consummate professional. So these guys are going to be well prepared and they know both know they're in the fight of their life.
However, Adam Smith said it is interesting how more and more people are beginning to back Daniel Dubois, especially after his recent wins over Jarrell Miller, Filip Hrgovic, and Anthony Joshua at Wembley, where he impressed by handling the pressure in front of 96,000 fans. Smith noted that when the rematch with Usyk was first announced, most expected a repeat of Usyk's dominant performance in Poland. However, with Dubois in the best form of his career, the fight now feels far more competitive. He did mention that he would have preferred Dubois to fight in February as planned, as the lack of recent ring time could affect him against a fighter like Usyk.
It's interesting. More and more people I'm talking to fancy Daniel Dubois. I think when the fight was first announced, most thought Usyk would just repeat the feat that he did in Poland. Obviously, Dubois got momentum with those wins over Miller and Hrgovic, and of course AJ at Wembley, where people were worried whether he'd freeze, and in front of 96,000 he dismantled Joshua, so he could be in no better form. I would have liked him to have fought in February when he was going to fight Joseph Parker. I think that lack of ring time might be problematic come the Usyk fight.
Smith added that while he does not expect any decline from Usyk, Dubois' power always makes him dangerous, especially early in the fight. He believes Usyk might still be too clever and skilled over the distance, but acknowledged that the gap between them has clearly narrowed. With Usyk aging and Dubois improving, there is real jeopardy in the fight. Smith said Dubois cannot outbox Usyk round after round, but might be able to break through with his power, especially by targeting the body. He believes the controversial body shot from their first fight, whether legal or not, has given Dubois confidence that he can hurt Usyk, which could make this rematch very interesting.
Usyk will be slightly too clever still. I don't know. Look, the gap has definitely closed. Usyk is getting older. Dubois is getting better. There's no way that he can outbox Oleksandr Uysk round after round, but can he punch through him? There's a possibility, and that's where the jeopardy is. And of course, he'll have the home crowd. He's got nothing to lose. I think people expect Usyk as this sort of unbeatable force, but the legs will go at some stage, and that low blow, whether it was, whether it wasn't, is long gone now, but it will give Dubois confidence that he can work the Usyk body, and if he can get to him, he can hurt him, and then it'll be very, very interesting.
Adam Smith further said that he expects Oleksandr Uysk to approach the rematch the way he always does, by technically breaking down his opponent. He praised Usyk's performances in previous rematches, especially against Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury, and pointed to his excellent footwork, sharp hands, and tricky southpaw style as key advantages. Smith believes Usyk will not be overly concerned about Dubois' power, having already faced other strong heavyweights, but will be more alert to Dubois' current form and the mental strength he has gained under trainer Don Charles.
I think he does what he always does, which is technically work out the opponent in front of him. He's very, very good in rematches. Look what he did with Joshua, look what he did with Fury. I think that Usyk will go about his business in exactly the way he always has. He's got fantastic feet. He's got wonderful hands. That southpaw style is always going to be difficult. I don't think he'll be worried in any way about the power that Dubois possesses. He's been in with other big heavyweights who've got that power. I think what he will be slightly concerned about, or certainly more aware of, is the form that Dubois is in, and the fact that Don Charles has got into Dubois mentally now. He's a stronger man, Daniel Dubois, which means he's a more dangerous fighter.
Smith lastly added that Dubois has become a stronger and more dangerous fighter, and if he were facing anyone other than Usyk, he might have a clear path to victory. However, he sees Usyk as a special talent who continues to show no signs of decline. He pointed to Usyk's strong finish in the later rounds of his second fight with Tyson Fury as proof that the Ukrainian is still improving. Smith concluded that if Usyk figures Dubois out early, it could be a tough night for the Brit, but if Dubois can hurt Usyk, the outcome becomes far less certain.
And I think if it was anyone other than Usyk facing him on July the 19th, I would think that Daniel Dubois would probably clean up, but Usyk is just that bit special. And look, he can't go on forever, Usyk, but I see no sign of decline. And if you look at the last 3 or 4 rounds in the Tyson Fury second fight, Usyk was just getting better and better. So if he works him out quickly, Dubois is in a lot of trouble. But if Dubois can hurt him, Who knows?
Sonny Edwards said that while he is a huge fan of Oleksandr Uysk, he also has a personal connection to Daniel Dubois, having shared cards with him and known him since they were kids. Uysk, though always admired, felt more distant, having competed at the top level internationally. Edwards believes that Dubois could have won their first fight, especially if it had taken place in an English ring, as the body shot that dropped Uysk did not seem illegal to him. He argued it landed in the area just below the belly button, which he considers borderline at worst, and said that Uysk struggled to get up, showing Dubois' power is real.
It's weird because I'm one of those people that, bear in mind, I'm a massive fan of Uysk, a bigger fan of Uysk than I ever have been Dubois. You know what I mean? Dubois was someone that I boxed on the same cards of, someone that I kind of remember from when we was all kids and that, so he's not like star to me, if that makes sense. But Uysk, known from kid, but, you know, always been on the other side of the world or doing the best in the amateurs than the pros. And I kind of think Dubois in an English ring would have won the first time. Because that body shot, for me, it wasn't his nuts. And I can't lie, when you get hit in that sort of middle bit under the belly button and above like that, that's not really an illegal shot. I thought the protector, in my opinion, that's just my opinion of how I see things, and I think it was kind of like in a shot where on someone else's groin guard and someone else's shots was a legal shot, and if not very, very borderline in the home corner, in the home fight, he might have won that fight. So he definitely can hurt him because there was no way Uysk was going to get up because he tried. He tried to get up and couldn't and was on the floor for about 5 minutes, then eventually got up.
Edwards added that although Uysk showed tremendous heart by recovering and adjusting to stop Dubois, age might now be a factor. He pointed out that Dubois is still only 28 and growing stronger and more confident, while Uysk is in his late 30s and may start to slow down. He believes this could work in Dubois' favor, especially with his size and maturity coming into play. Still, Edwards admitted it is hard to pick against Uysk because of how great he is and everything he has achieved in the sport.
But Uysk, tremendous fighter where he just overcame and readjusted and then sort of punched him to a standstill. So there's still that, but Uysk's getting older and Dubois getting older, but that's a better thing for Dubois because he's still in that. He's not the oldest. What is it, 28? 28, I would say, a year younger than me. So he's 28, you know what I mean, and 27, 28, and Uysk's now what, 34, 35? Getting on, 36, 37, that's even older. And yeah, eventually those reactions and eventually the size and the maturity and the confidence. He's got a lot of confidence now, but who can pick against Uysk is what I would say, because he's that great.
Johnny Nelson said Oleksandr Uysk has shown that rematches often play to his strengths, as he quickly learns from the first fight and adjusts with ease. He noted that Daniel Dubois is a different fighter now, with more self-belief and trust in his team. Nelson compared Dubois' mindset in the first fight to that of a beginner still learning, but said he has grown in confidence since then. Still, he warned that Usyk's intelligence and ability to study opponents make him an even greater threat in a second meeting.
That aside, talking about the fight itself, you look at Oleksandr Uysk has proven time and time again, if he's boxed you once, he actually finds it easier the second time. And the difference between this fight and their last fight is Daniel is now believe in himself, and the success has made him more confident, have more self-belief, have more faith in what he's capable of doing. I think he was like a learning driver the first time we boxed. But the problem is with Uysk, if you fight Uysk once, he's very good at downloading the blueprint of who you are.
Nelson added that this rematch has captured public interest, but he believes Uysk might win by stoppage. He explained it would not be a knockout from one punch, but rather a result of consistent, clever pressure. While Dubois impressed in his win over Anthony Joshua by rising to the occasion, Nelson believes this fight will be more intense, with both men coming in fully prepared. He acknowledged that Dubois is physically stronger, but pointed out that Uysk has handled bigger opponents before and always found a way to win.
It's a fight that catches your attention, but I do believe that Uysk could possibly stop Daniel. And it won't be one shot. It'll be an accumulation of consistent, supple pressure on Daniel. But Daniel, again, we see how he grows, we see how he goes on, and I bet against Daniel against AJ, but then AJ didn't turn up, Daniel did. and Daniel got the job done. So I don't think that's going to be the case here. You've got two fighters that are going to turn up, so it's going to be skill against skill. Daniel is naturally the stronger of the two, but I suppose a lot of people Usyk's been with have been bigger and stronger than him, but he's managed to negate his way around what advantages they have.
Lastly, Nelson said both fighters now have a clear understanding of each other's strengths. He praised Usyk for staying composed under pressure and being able to turn a fight around even when in trouble. He noted that Dubois has learned from their last meeting and knows he must stay focused throughout. While both have grown in confidence, Nelson believes Usyk's experience and ring IQ will be the difference and expects him to win inside the distance.
So Dubois knows what Usyk's about, and Usyk knows what Dubois is about. Usyk showed that he can think in most situations and change the direction of a fight mid-fight. He's proved that. He proved that when he got when he went down in the last fight. He knew how to milk the situation. He knew how to play the game, find himself a little time to re-establish himself, and still come back and beat Daniel up. So for Daniel, he now knows that, you know what, I've got to stick to the task in hand. Don't be broken-hearted by this guy's persistence, because he'll keep coming as long as he possibly can. He's an honest pro. So knowledge is power. So yes, they're both not getting an instant rematch. You think, well, look at what they did after that. Look at what Usyk also did after that. Look at what Daniel did. So Daniel's had a confidence builder, but so has Usyk. So Daniel knows what Usyk's about, but so does Usyk. So both fighters have benefited from the opportunity to box elsewhere and others. So again, I think Usyk stops Daniel inside the distance. But you know what? I'm trying to brack the bit, but you asked me a question, I'm going to say exactly how it is, how I think it is.
So what are your thoughts on this? Share your thoughts in the comment section, and Amkey's sure to subscribe and like if you enjoyed the video.